When I was in my 20s, I worked as a crime and news reporter in Chicago, and I was rarely at a loss for words. I couldn't afford to be. The minute I was on scene, whether it was a fire, a shooting, or even a chat with the President of the United States, I had an editor paging me and demanding the story yesterday. It was a life fueled by black coffee, ballpoint pens, and big piles of long, skinny reporters' notebooks. We didn't have Starbucks or cell phones back then. And the minute I submitted one story, I was racing to the next, pondering the questions I needed to ask or the sources I needed to track down. Some stories I had the luxury of typing into a computer, but most of them I dictated from a phone booth. My foot propped to hold the door closed, pepper spray in one hand, my notebook in the other, flipping through my notes as I built the story word by word, sentence by sentence, detail by detail. My editors were ferocious, swearing at me if I didn't answer immediately with exactly the information that they demanded, and always urging me to move faster, faster. I loved the high-speed work, and it wasn't often that I slowed, but I remember one evening when the words would not come. I had spent a cold April day at the Chicago River covering what later became known as the Great Chicago Flood. You can Google it. A construction crew had been hired by the city to replace the wooden pilings by one of the bridges, and it should have been a simple job. But the construction crew was never shown a map of the 62 miles of coal tunnels that crisscross beneath the city of Chicago. When they drove the new wood pilings into the riverbed, one of the posts pressed into a tunnel. The pressure built gradually. First there was a dampness, then a little leak, then a bigger leak, and then, well, picture a bathtub drain swirling faster and faster. When the piling was drilled into the top of the tunnel, that little slow leak eventually exploded into a 20-foot hole about the size of a car, 250 million gallons of river water flooding basements and sub-basements, cutting power to the entire downtown area in Chicago. Some buildings even reported up to 40 feet of water. So how do you stop a river from swirling down a drain? Throw old mattresses at it? Yeah, they tried that. Sandbags? Tried it. A giant cement plug? Another attempt. So day after day, I watched scuba divers lowered in a wire cage into the dangerous swirl as the hole continued to grow and the city remained dark. So on that first night of the flood, I can remember I sat hovered over my keyboard in the newsroom, waiting for the right words, but nothing came. The story was exhilarating and I was excited to tell it, but my brain was this wash of faces. My copy editor, who was sitting across the newsroom and would grumble as he hit delete again and again, paring down my words to a bare skeleton. The senior reporter, who would share a front page byline in the Chicago Tribune with me. The scuba divers, the construction workers, the police, the frantic city officials, the local camera crews who were always trying to beat me to the next story, and the bewildered Chicago citizens who honestly could not understand why we didn't just plug the river. I knew my purpose, but in that moment, I realized why I was frozen. My audience was a swirl. I was trying to appease all of them, but that would be ridiculous. So I asked myself a critical question: who am I writing to? And I knew the answer immediately: the bewildered 3 million plus Chicago citizens. And almost as immediately, the words began to flow. So in that moment, I realized that my middle school English teachers actually had it wrong. It's not just about answering the question. It's not just about knowing your assignment. To write effectively, efficiently, and persuasively in any situation, it's critical that, number one, we understand our purpose. Number two, we know our audience, and, well, to discover the third element, I hope you will sign up for our free 1-credit equivalent Pathway to Writing Excellence. Friends, my name is Dr. Jenny Harrop, and I look forward to exploring together the hiccups that sometimes freeze our ideas, the tricks that I learned on the beat as a journalist, and even a few of the grammar rules that have changed over the years. We write more now than ever before in history. Join us as we explore together how to write with excellence.